Okay, this is Willie Jones, and you've tuned into another edition of the Women for Progress radio show, airing here every Thursday at 5:30 to 6:30. And I tell you, I am so excited to be here tonight. One, because this year, Women for Progress Radio Network celebrates over 15 years of it changing the dialogue in Mississippi. You know, Women for Progress, the organization, has been around now for 46 years. Dorothy Stewart Samuel started this organization back in 1978, and we just been so excited about the work of the organization and the amazing women that lead this organization, that support this organization, that sit and stand in this organization, and we're so excited about that. And Women for Progress Radio Network became a, I guess, kind of an auxiliary of you could say, of Women for Progress back in 2010. We thought of it as another way to continue to expand the work of Women for Progress, which is to, of course, empower women and be the voice of Mississippians. So we're excited that this radio network, which was created by women, hosted by women, produced by women, is still here today and blossoming. And we have so much to look forward to. Matter of fact, we will be launching a press release upcoming where Women for Progress Radio Network now becomes Women for Progress Media, because we started out on the radio and on the public radio station WNPR with a 30-minute show that quickly moved up to an hour and then an hour and a half. And then in the midst of COVID, we of course went digital. And as they say, we haven't gone back. And so we are now a media outfit because we do a lot of live forums and we do a lot of live special editions that we do on site. So we're on every single platform that you can imagine around where you get your podcast. We go live right now. We're live on YouTube. We're live, of course, on this Facebook page. We're live at womenforprogressradio.com. We had so many people say, I don't do Facebook. I don't do social media, but I want to listen to it in every week. So we made sure that our website, womenforprogressradio.com, that was a place that you can also go to every time we go live, no matter where we are. So we thank you all so much for supporting this radio network, which we feel has been the voice for women and families and communities for a very long period of time. But we could not have done any of the work without you, because it's been your stories and your voice that we have brought forth on this network, and we're so excited. And also, I got to do a shout out to our executive producer, Miss Juanita Brown. She has been the executive producer of this network for over 15 years, and she has kept the passion and kept, making sure that our programming is on point and that we are really listening to the issues and sharing the issues in our communities. And I'm so happy for that. But tonight, I tell you, we just recently, last Thursday, celebrated 17 women in media. And these women are from every single, they were from TV and radio and content creators and podcasters and advocacy people, reporters and writers, and just they were just women, many of them that we had never met before. Some of them had been friends with us, and of course we work with the network so often, so we get to see a lot of them and connect with a lot of them, but many with new faces. And we're just so excited now to have them and to have linked hands with them. And look, we feel like we're part of the breed now of women in media. We really, really are. And so we are so excited as we move forward to continue to work together with them. So tonight, I have one of the most incredible ones on the list. There were 17 women that we celebrated, and they were all amazing. And I'll share with you, if you go to our Facebook page, you'll see the winners in every category. I think we had 8 categories from journalism to reporting to advocacy to writing, etc. I don't want to mess that up. So go to our Facebook page or either womeninmedia2025.com. We still have that landing page up, and we'll continue to be able to spotlight our honorees too, and you'll get to know them. And it's important that you get to know them, because these are the women that are on the ground. They're in the TV and radio stations. They're editing, they're writing, they're leading stories. They're out there with their crew sharing stories. So you need to know who these women are. And more importantly, what type of people they are. Are they somebody who understands what's going on in the city of Jackson and the state of Mississippi? So it's so very important. Now we say they're women, so right off the bat, check. Women understand families, they understand communities, they understand business, they understand so many different things. So just right off the bat, they get 50%, 50 points out of the 100. You know, so we're so excited to have tonight with us Miss Mina Corpuz. Can you let me make sure I said that right? Is it Corpuz?
Corpuz.
Corpuz, and I was about to mess that up.
No
So
worries.
we have Mina Corpuz, which is a California native. She covers the criminal justice system and legal issues. She was chosen as a fellow in the inaugural class of the Widening the Pipeline Fellowship through the National Press Foundation and the Law and Justice Journalism Project Fellowship. Before joining Mississippi Today, she was a reporter for the Clarion Ledger and newspapers in Massachusetts. Her work has appeared in the Los Angeles Times, the Boston Globe, and the USA Today. She is currently a reporter for Mississippi Today. And Mina, is it okay if I call you Mina?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great. And thank you so much. I thank you so much for joining us tonight. And we had such a wonderful, inspiring time last Thursday for our Women in Media Awards. That was our second event. Our first one was in 2023. And then 2025, of course, was another slate of amazing people. And so we decided we're going to do this thing every 2 years. So this is something that's going to be on our slate. But thank you for joining me tonight because your area, I guess your area of passion or expertise is based on your resume says criminal justice and legal issues. And we know that we've had a lot of issues in the city of Jackson, in the state of Mississippi, really countrywide. There's issues in urban cities. It's not something that's specifically unique to the city of Jackson. So we want to talk about that a little bit. But before we get into our conversation, I want our audience to get a little bit to know you a little better. Tell me how you, what was the catalyst for you choosing the career in journalism?
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I'm so glad to have been nominated, to have gone to that celebration. It was amazing. Everyone there, well deserved for all the winners. But yeah, a little bit about me, how I became a reporter. I have always enjoyed learning and reading and writing and being a little nosy and trying to figure out how things work. So I kind of was trying to think, what could I do? And journalism seemed to be a fit for that. I signed up for a class in high school and I kind of never really looked back. So my job has been asking people things, getting to know people, getting to understand issues, and that's taken me to where I am now.
Wow. Well, we're so glad that you're here, and we're going to keep an eye on you. We look forward to watching you and watching your stories. So, what is your approach to this type of stories that you decide that you're going to focus on? How you approach a story? What influences the selection of the type of stories that you share or that you tackle? Tell our audience a little bit about that.
Yeah, so my official title is justice reporter, and justice can encompass a lot of things, but predominantly, the criminal justice system sits pretty square in that sphere. So, we're talking about all levels of criminal justice from, arrests and interactions with the police, maybe prosecution and trial, conviction, prison, jail, post incarceration, coming out and getting back into society. Those are all definitely within my wheelhouse, in addition to, other things like lawsuits or civil rights issues. Immigration is very big right now. And then, you can go to court for a lot of things. So just a lot of things that could fall within what I write about. And every day is just a new opportunity to pick from that. And, I can't stop things from happening. So it's kind of responding to what's going on this week or today. Writing some stories, the day of or the week of, and also trying to balance more project-based stuff, where I dig a little deeper into issues. So yeah, I mean, when I pick stories, I'm trying to think about, what's happening, what do I want people to know about, but also like, what's the impact on actual people? I could write about a bill or a policy and it could sound really technical, but I really want people who are normal people to just understand, like, what does this mean for me? And at least with criminal justice, it's like, okay, how does the system work for people who are directly affected by it, family members, advocates? Like, what is that like for those people? That's hopefully the perspective I'm trying to bring whenever I write anything.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that, because sometimes you had to dig a little deeper, because the story that's on top is not necessarily what's really happening, especially when we would talk about impact, how that particular situation or that particular arrest or whatever's going on is happening to that particular family or even that community sometimes. So what are the challenges with reporting from the criminal justice areas? When you think about a city like the city of Jackson, which is very complex politically, what are some of the challenges trying to make sure that you get the right story out there to the public?
Yeah, I think with anything, no matter what you cover, obviously gaining and building and maintaining trust is very big. So, I'm talking to, the people who work in these agencies and departments, but I'm also talking to families, maybe people who are in jail or prison right now, advocates. They all deserve respect from me and understanding. And I'm going to give it to them when I ask these questions, be as professional as I can. And then, I'm always interested in context to understand, a little bit more about kind of why something happened. Obviously, if something's happening, really fast, it may be a little hard to go that deep. But, even just taking a few hours or a day to kind of take a breath and think about it can definitely result in some good stories that may be turning out a little bit different from how, other organizations, news outlets report them. Because I don't always have to be first. I mostly want to, do the best I can with what the information available is. So yeah, the opportunity to dig is encouraged in my position, and I relish it. And yeah.
Well, and that leads me to the next question too, because that's one of the reasons why we celebrated. Now, of course, we wanted to celebrate Women for Progress Radio, but just like Women for Progress organization, we never just give ourselves a pat on the back. We have to bring women into the play. So that's why we selected those 17 nominees. But the other thing is that we Women for Progress, the organization, understands how women's voices and perspectives impact community, economics, and all those things. So talk a little bit about how you think that reporters and journalists and writers and individuals like you that are in media, what you do and how you do it impacts community and impacts everything around us. How important is that? And talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I like to think of what I'm doing as a service, or, to be helpful to people in the community, in the state. I'm not necessarily doing this for me and, I want to be great or all of that. Like, I would just want my neighbors and fellow people who live here to understand what's going on in, the wheelhouse that I cover. And sorry, what was the rest of your question?
Just how your work impacts our community. Not only your work, but work of journalists and reporters and people who are reporting the news impact our communities and our families and our cities.
Yeah, absolutely. I think just the ability to ask a lot of questions and to really bug until you can get them from some of our electeds, some of the people who we put in charge of things like our jails and our prisons and our police and all of that, to elevate some concerns that people in the community might be having, to try and help them understand, like, why did you do it this way, or why is it happening this way? And then also just to elevate some of the experiences that people are having, whether it's positive or negative, like, this happened to me, this really affected me or my family. Like, let's give that person, an opportunity to say that. I'm hopefully not trying to hijack what you're saying. Like, I kind of want you and what happened to you to shine. And that's one of the things I try to do. Yeah.
How much do you rely on the community and orgs and others to call on you all as reporters for stories versus you all just jumping out there and just kind of reporting what's happening?
Oh, I think they're vital, like, especially, to give an on the ground perspective of what's happening. I don't live in the city of Jackson, so I can't always be there to see it for myself, and that goes for all the other communities too that I don't live in or operate in. So, making connections with advocates and organizations who are based there, who do work directly with some of these people who live there is very helpful. And, of course, the opportunity to connect with people who are living there, experiencing specific things that are specific to their community. So, like when we had the water stuff going on in Jackson, other than getting out there, it's of course very important to connect with people who are providing the help. And, that's kind of an approach I take. I absolutely think that organizations and people themselves are very important to tell a story. It's not just about the numbers or what the official line is. It's like, what about these people? What are they experiencing?
Right. What do you think the biggest challenges with women navigating the legal system in Mississippi?
Yeah. I think one thing I hear about a lot is honestly like childcare related things. Like, there's always the thought of, if I were to get caught up in the criminal justice system, whether it's through courts and make payments or you actually have to go to jail or prison, like there's always a thought of like, what's going to happen to my kids? What's going to happen to my family? And, women hold the glue together, are providing a lot of the care or, the money to keep families going. So that's a very big question of like, if I'm not here, how are they going to be okay? That's something I definitely think about a lot, especially when reporting on women, because, you even hear some of the women talk about like, I'm trying to get home to my kids. I'm trying to get home to my sick parents or, family members because, they need me, they rely on me. And they're even still trying to do that from, a cell in a community that's not in the one they're from. So yeah, that's definitely a challenge of just having to still consider your family, even when you're going through this personally.
And what do you think women need to know about the legal system before even anything happens? I mean, when we think about the challenges that we have, and sometimes when we don't think that we're going to be faced with these legal issues, and then there we are. Whether it's our children, whether it be our spouse, whether it be ourselves. So what would you think that you would want women to know about the legal system that we may not be aware of right now?
I think just generally, like knowing your rights is always good. I think, like if you were to get arrested or like, just the fact that you have the right to an attorney. Obviously, I know money does play a role in that too, with whatever access you can get to resources, but trying to understand like just that you have a say, hopefully, in some of these situations and how you can advocate for yourself, or maybe there are people out there in the community, whether it's legal services, organizations that might be able to help you if you are faced with a situation like this. I feel like more knowledge is better than none, a little bit more generally. Yeah.
Well, we're in the middle of course, the legislative season right now, and of course, this is a policy making time. It's such a crucial time for us, especially for women and families. Are there any criminal justice policies or bills that are out there right now that are going to be helpful for women, or even changing the tide about women and policies around women, around the criminal justice system or legal system that we need to be aware of?
Yeah, I mean, I do track bills that come through like the judiciary committees, the corrections committees specifically, because those are just, part of what I do. But, there's stuff that could be coming through education and health, and that could also be helpful. But at least specifically some of the stuff I'm looking at, this is just a small part of, criminal justice, what I cover. But I've been looking at some bills around domestic violence, obviously something that a lot of women do experience. Also, men and other people can experience it too. But there is a bill right now that's still making its way, and advocates are hopeful that it could pass, where they want to be able to study domestic violence deaths, to see what these people kind of had to face, and hopefully finding ways to identify gaps in the system so that hopefully they can be more interventions, be more proactive, and hopefully down the line be able to save some more lives and just get all the people who are involved with helping survivors and victims together in a more effective way to do something. So yeah, I think it's House Bill 2886 is the current bill right now. I've been writing about it. I'm currently writing about domestic violence issues too. and doing my own, digging around that. And that's one of, the type of bills that I'm looking at, just because I know that women are pretty majority who are affected by that issue.
Yeah, and it's a shame that we're still dealing with that, because even though we've had some reforms and things in the past that have helped a lot and have kept some women safe, we're still very challenged around those particular issues. And so we look forward to your report, more and more of your reporting on that. And do you, when you're writing your stories, of course you want to be, you want to share the facts, and a lot of times I know you all as reporters, you don't want to be part of the story, so you try not to give your personal opinions, but also, are you solution based too? So if you're telling a story, do you, how can you also incorporate possible solutions? Does that make sense? How, I'm
Yeah.
saying, having that at the end, because yeah, we want to hear about the story, we want the facts, we want to know what happened, we want to know the details, but also in the end, at the end, on the other side of that story, what are the solutions? What are some of the opportunities for us when we are looking at these particular criminal justice issues and legal issues?
Yeah, no, focusing on solutions in any reporting is definitely very important. And I mean, it's something I look to do a little bit more, but I mean, I think at least providing resources, especially with dealing with some very sensitive topics, is something that I've done in the past. So, if we're talking about suicide, we might include, the lines that you can call if you're experiencing that. If we're talking about domestic violence or sexual assault, some of the resources in the community, just ways that you can contact people if this is something that you need help with. That's definitely like, a little solution. But in terms of big stuff, I think definitely talking with the people who have the ability to advocate and move policy is a way to get a gauge for like, what can we do? Because I'm always asking, like, this is how things are, how could we improve them? What can we do a little bit better next time? What are the opportunities to just grow? And that's always good to keep in mind. Just like, I mean, if something works, then that's good too.
Yeah. And I want to step away for just a minute, Mina, and talk a little bit about culture, because you are not a native of Mississippi or the South. You're from California. I lived there for a long time. I love that town too. But I'm glad to be home, and been back home in Mississippi for now for over 30 years. But but there's got to be some cultural challenges too, because you don't look like a Southerner. Okay, so let's be real with that. So what are the challenges as a woman that is not part of the Mississippi soil? What are some of the things, have you experienced some challenges being from another culture, and how do you deal with that?
Yeah, no, I love this. Yeah, I moved to Mississippi in like Labor Day 2021. So it's been a couple years now. I'm feeling things out a bit, but yeah, I'm sure it was definitely a shock. I've lived in a lot of places, so California, Massachusetts, it's all very different. And even just like how reporting and like different issues play out are a lot different there too. But I kind of just used my time here as an opportunity to just kind of undo any sort of stereotypes I've ever had about Mississippi or the South. Because, prior to moving here, I'd never been here. All I know is from what I've read in a history book or what people who are not from here say. And not all of it is accurate. So the fact that I live here now, there's a lot of great people doing a lot of great things and a lot of opportunity for change and, to tell stories. So that's something I've really appreciated. And that's kind of how I just try to approach it. Like, this is where I live now. This is my community. And I just digging into learning about it as much as I can.
Well, we thank you so much, and we look forward to you being engaging in part of our community with Women for Progress. And I think for us as women, we love to see women like you that are from a different culture, because we want to hear, because you're first part of the humanity that is women, so that we have that commonality. But I think we as women find it very interesting. We want to hear other women's perspective on things that are maybe not from our particular race or from our particular culture. I think we find that, specifically women find that interesting. They find that exciting, because with I think with most women is we want to hear We want folks to help share our voices in different ways that may be interpreted to support the work that we do, the effort that we do, the desires that we have, and in our different perspectives. So we're excited about what you bring to the table for that. So we're always looking for that. And I hope those who are listening to us right now, as we begin to, you're now part of this team at Mississippi Today that's going to be focused on criminal justice and legal issues within the city of Jackson. Uniquely, I'm sure you're going to be covering all the state, but also specifically, you all are focusing on the city of Jackson. So I think we're excited to be able to hear your perspective when that comes through. So how do you stay motivated, Mina? This is a tough gig. I mean, what you do, you're dealing with diverse people. You're out there. You gotta be spending a lot of time also thinking about these issues, because it's not enough to just get the black and white research that you find in the on the internet or in stories or in part of the history. You got to think about that. What does this story say? How do I share this story? How do I make sure that I'm reporting and being fair to all of the entities? Because there's all different sides, right? There's
Yes.
that side who think they're right, and their side who may be wrong, or the side that may have committed the crime, or either involved with the divorce or whatever the legal issue is, or the bribery charge, or whatever the situation is. So you got two sides that you got to juggle at all times, and you need to make sure that you're providing that diversity within the story. So you got to think about it all the time. So how do you stay motivated to continue to have the passion that you have, and to get up every day and be able to tell a new story? What motivates you doing the work that you do every day?
Yeah. I think what motivates me is that there's still a lot I don't know. Like I've come a long way from, just joining a high school journalism class, joining my college paper, and, getting out there for my first job. I can, handle myself a lot better now. I know a lot more about issues, but the learning doesn't stop. And there's a lot to learn about here. There's a lot of more people I can meet. So I think I just see it as like, okay, we're just going to keep going, which is good. There's plenty to do. So yeah, that keeps me motivated. And also just like what little way I can help each day. You read something that changed your perspective and it got you to think a little bit more. Maybe next time you read something, maybe you want to go out and vote, or maybe you want to be an advocate, or maybe you want to run for office. And like, that's great. I want you to take, control of your life, with the information that you have, learning more and trying to use that information. So that's definitely something that motivates me. Like, just how can I help other people?
Yeah. Well, we're going to take a moment, just about 60 seconds, and we are so excited that one of our hosts for Women for Progress Radio, Ms. Tanya Ware, has a few words that she's going to share with us. We'll be right back.
The importance and the significance of Women for Progress media is far-reaching, because it is the media that shapes narratives. It changes culture. It creates diversity. It brings from the shadows new, innovative voices. And what's really powerful is when the person telling the story is a part of your community. So we are empowered and transformed and changed in so many ways by what we hear. Do you know an informed people is a powerful people? And it's Women for Progress Media that's helping to empower people across the state of Mississippi and beyond with the dialogue and the discussions, the interviews, and the opportunities to hear new information, to digest new information, and to experience new ways of thinking. The important.
Oh, thanks so much to Pastor Tanya Ware for sharing that word for us. We're going to be sharing many more of those thoughts and comments from our community leaders and our other hosts that host Women for Progress Radio. We're going to be doing that the entire month of March, which is Women's History Month, and we're so excited that our host of the powerful host team that's behind the scenes at Women for Progress Radio that come forth and help bring forth the conversations and the stories. And we are so excited about the 15 years of service for Women for Progress Radio Network. We've interviewed and we've had conversations with leadership where we've talked to our sheriff and our senators and our representatives and women in leadership and women who are leading their own businesses and creating legacies within their community. We are talking to experts all over, not only the city of Jackson, for the state of Mississippi, and they're reporting and sharing and giving us information on policies and issues and that impact us and the impact the quality of our lives every day. Our goal at Women for Progress Radio really is to be a catalyst for change, is to make sure that we're changing the dialogue in Mississippi. We don't do gotcha news. We don't, we don't give you our opinion one way. Well, not always. Sometimes we give our opinion, but we want to just report the facts. And it's our belief that if we share the good information with voters and we make sure that they get the real facts and the real stories, that is not biased, and that we feel like people, when they show up to the poll, they're going to make the right decisions for themselves and for their families. And when there's a decision to be made, rather in their life or in their businesses or around the policy making table, that we're hoping that the information that we share at Women for Progress Radio Network really inspires that in some way, empowers that in some way, and influences that in some way. So that's what we've been doing for the last 15 years, and we look forward to doing even more as we move forward under the Women for Progress Media umbrella. Our goal is, as we begin to move forward, is we continue to branch out and make sure that these stories and things that happen to families and in our community here in Mississippi, that we'll be able to share it nationwide. We, as I stated, we're on the YouTube platform. Sometimes I'm at home and I don't do cable TV, but I do YouTube. I go back and watch the news stories when I want them. And there pops up Women for Progress Radio, and that's exciting. So people can get us. They can just put in Women for Progress Radio. Our YouTube channel is Women for Progress of MS Inc. Women for Progress of MS Inc. And you can get us there, or you can just type in. Sometimes I just type in Women for Progress and go back and listen to some of the shows. So we're available there. We're available at womenforprogressradio.com. All of our programming, including this conversation with Miss Mina tonight, you can go to our Facebook page and go to videos, and also all of our videos are available there for a lot of our past interviews. And then, of course, like I said, anywhere you get your podcast, which is Spreaker Radio, Spotify, iHeartRadio, a SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, really anywhere you get your podcasts, we're also available there. So we're excited about those particular opportunities, and we want you to continue to be part of the conversation. If you have a podcast in mind, you're a woman and you're interested in creating your own podcast, right now we have an open call for new podcasts and new radio hosts. So please reach out to us. Our information is on our Facebook page and also at our website at womenforprogress.net. We actually have a few new shows that we are getting ready to launch that are part of our network. Go to womenforprogressradio.com. You said, well, what does that look like? If I want to be a podcaster or host a show under our umbrella, what does that look like? Go to womenforprogressradio.com and a list of our current podcasts over there. I think we may be missing one or two that's not on the site, but that'll give you an idea of what we focus on. We're about awareness, advocacy, and action. Okay. And we're about putting the face on the issues that impact us, that impact our quality of lives for ourselves, our families, our children, our husband, our businesses, etc. So we would love to be able to hear how you might be part of that conversation at Women for Progress Media. So tonight we're talking with Mina Corpuz. Did I say that right?
Corpuz, yeah.
Corpuz. I'm gonna say that over again. Corpuz. And we're talking about. She is a reporter for Mississippi Today, and her niche is criminal justice system and legal issues. And we've been talking a little bit about that in her reporting. So I want to get right back into that conversation. I think we have a few more minutes I want to get in, Amina. Have there been some stories around criminal justice and legal issues that have stood out for you recently in the city of Jackson and state of Mississippi that you can share about?
Specifically with Jackson, let me think. I mean, I'm definitely just gonna throw a shout out to my colleague Maya, who's the new member of the Jackson team. She's been doing some really good reporting around homelessness, just the fact that we have that population of people kind of understanding what they're going through, why they're experiencing that, and some of the efforts at the state capitol to, they may seem well-meaning, but it's just like, just get them off the street and then they'll be fine. But just trying to go a little bit beyond that. What resources do we have or not have? So she's definitely doing a really good job. And I know she's also been following, the upcoming mayor race for there's a lot of candidates going. So I think they've got like surveys and all, opportunities for all the candidates to, talk about who they are, what they do, why they'd be good for that position. So yeah, I think that's, just for the Mississippi Today, that's some good stuff going on. And for me, I think when I come to Jackson, it's usually going to the federal courthouse. Sometimes I'm at the circuit court or the chancery court. So it's a lot of cases, but yeah, I mean, I'm around and it's always good to be in the city and, or at the state capitol as well.
Right. Now, what are some, I mean, when you think about the women that are trying to get in this, that may be interested in getting into journalism and coming into journalism, one of the things that we did last week for the Women in Media, we invited some young budding journalists from Millsaps, 3 beautiful young women who came and joined us, and we gave them complimentary tickets to come. And they really had a really great time. And they said they learned so much from all of you all that came forward. They were so excited to be in the room with all of you all. So these are young, amazing, beautiful women that have chosen this as possibly their major at Millsaps. And so what would you share with women, young girls like that, or young women like that are considering this profession? What do they need to know, or what's some of the challenges that they need to be aware of?
Yeah, no, I love that they were there, and I'm glad they were able to have a positive takeaway from seeing, all of us. But yeah, I mean, I would definitely encourage them to stay curious, to always be looking for opportunities to learn and ask questions and, keep going. But I mean, also just recognizing that, yeah, it's a hard time for reporters these days, whether, it's industry stuff, sorry, my computer, that we can't have control over, or, just the state of the nation and all that, just trying to build some resiliency, to take care of yourself. Because, obviously you can pour a lot of yourself into trying to care for others and, find information and write on behalf of others, but just make sure to take care of yourself too. But yeah, I mean, there's just also being persistent. Like I said earlier, like I get to be nosy, but I also get to be annoying sometimes. So keep asking, ask it differently, find another way. And it can result in some really interesting experiences, or it ultimately gets you a really good story. So that's something I would encourage them to do. And especially going into these, criminal justice, legal issues, there's definitely a lot to learn about. And I started kind of just as a general assignment news reporter, but criminal justice was always kind of at that foundation, like going to crime scenes, going to court, talking to police and sheriffs and district attorneys. So even if you're not maybe feeling ready to go straight into something I might be doing, you have opportunities with every little assignment that you get to just learn more. So yeah, that's definitely some advice I give. And I love, working with and supporting students and young reporters too. That's something I've done in the past, answered emails, followed them on Twitter and stuff like that. I've gone and talked with, college newspapers at high school. So it's definitely something I enjoy doing, supporting the up and coming generation.
Yeah, what I said to them too is they want to have some more dialogue with a lot of the women they got to meet there. And that's something that we can definitely facilitate, because I think that's a great way for us to learn they're to learn this industry and to really connect and that type of thing. And then the other piece of it is we want those young women when they graduate from MilSAPs to stay right here in our state. And the best way for us to do that is continue to mentor them and pour strength into them and blow wind under their wings, so they feel like yeah, I just graduated, but I want to stay here and I want to find out how I can really be part of the process and be effective and impactful, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I've always, I totally understand the urge to be like, I want to go to my hometown, to my home state, and just report there. This is what I grew up doing, or where I grew up. I'd love to be part of that. And although I'm not doing that, like, that would be such a great opportunity for anyone who's, from here in Mississippi, who wants to learn here and like eventually report here. That's awesome.
And Mina, you've done a lot. You say, you talked about Massachusetts, and you've gotten some fellowships, and you've also been recognized for your work. What are some of the most what are some proud things that you excited about or have been proud of within your work over the years? Is there one or two things that stood out for you that you say, hey, I'm really proud of this work, or I'm even a story that you might have produced that you say, hey, I really made an impact here?
Yeah, no, I honestly feel really happy when I hear back from the people I'm writing about, and they're just so happy about how it turned out. And like, I'm not necessarily talking about like, oh, I'm happy that the mayor liked my article or a state rep. I'm talking about like normal people, or like there was one story, I think I've written 2 stories now, about a woman who recently got out of prison, and she's just been dealing with a lot of stuff in her past with trauma and drug addiction, and just wanting to be a better person so that she could get back to her child, kind of like we talked about earlier, one of the motivations. And just, hearing from her, I've gotten to know her over the couple months now that she's out of prison, just seeing her rebuild her life. And like, that's the type of stuff that I like to hear about, when someone like that who I've worked with is like, thank you for doing this. Like, thank you for being able to help me tell this, share my story. Like, that's what I'm happy to hear about. And like, if I get an award here and there, sure, that's great too. Do I get a nomination? Sure, that's great. But some of that direct impact of like, thank you for asking, or thank you for doing this is what makes it all worth it.
Yeah, I agree with you. Real world, touching the lives of everyday people or everyday women. It is there's something unique about it when you're a leader out here and you're trying to do the stuff. Those are the kind of things that keep your wings kind of up here, and you're flying. So yeah, definitely. And I'm sure you'll get a lot of that also. Now, we got a few more minutes left in our program, and I want to just hit a little bit on Mississippi today. I have to say, we have been, or at least I personally have been watching the evolution of Mississippi today for some time now. And I am so excited about the type of very transparent reporting that Mississippi today is doing, and the very diverse perspectives that are being brought forth from Mississippi today. And also, I have to say, legislatively, policy wise, I tell you, I'm always excited about the stories that are coming forth, that how you all go and you dig into those stories, even when it comes down to a particular policy or a particular bill. I'm excited about the reporters that are doing their job at Mississippi today. So for those who are listening out there, because there's a lot of options around news, and we need a lot of options. You got the Clearing Ledger, you got Mississippi Free Press, and Donna Ladd, we love her. Thank her for being a panelist on our show last night. Mississippi Free Press is doing wonderful things. It's a historic paper it's evolved from Jackson Free Press, which was kind of a beacon for us for many, many years. And then it changed to Mississippi Free Press, a nonprofit organization that continues to do things a little bit differently. We have a Jackson Advocate. Got to shout out for that historic paper, Alice Tisdale and Miss Deanna Tisdale, who keeps that paper going. And now it's gone from a paper that's locally been distributed. It's also now digitally. And I want to say to you all too, we got to support papers like Jackson Advocate. If a subscription for Jackson Advocate paper is only $36, and they send it directly to your house. How many papers still now do you actually get in your hand at home, but you can still do that with Jackson Advocate. And we love that African American women leadership there, like Miss Tisdale and Deanna, that's doing a wonderful job. And again, a lot of these papers I'm mentioning, these are women-led, papers. Mississippi Free Press has Kathy Griffin and Donna Ladd, and Jackson Advocate has Miss Alice Tisdale and Deanna Tisdale. And then of course, Mississippi Today has all these women, incredible women reporters, men reporters too. But they have really, really done a good job of diversity, I think, within Mississippi Today. So my question is, after saying all of that, Mina, is that now that we're listening to the audience that is listening right now, when they have all of this diversity, because they can, then you got your national papers that people are going to listen to, and people get their news digitally now. They get on the phones, on the tablet, so many different ways they can do. What is different about Mississippi Today? What is that vision, Mississippi Today's vision? What makes them unique to other papers that are out there? Because you got your local papers too, DeSoto News and Delta papers and stuff like that. What's unique about Mississippi Today? What do they have that other papers do not?
Yeah, I mean, I would just like to give credit to all of our media organizations here in the state, because they're amazing. I read a lot of their stuff every day, and it gives me a lot of ideas. Sometimes I write stories because other people are covering them. Like we've got a lot of great reporters here. But yeah, with Mississippi Today, I mean, one thing that definitely drew me to it, because I used to work in newspapers, and you got to write a lot. There's the challenge of just putting together a physical paper that has to be printed and then delivered to stores and people's houses. At least in Mississippi Today, there's a little bit more breathing room to do things, like I said, to dig. I'm encouraged to take my time, to take a breather, to really think about what I want to do and to go after it. So that's something I've really appreciated. And I've seen all my colleagues across all their topic areas do just that. They are good at, writing about something the day of and breaking news, but they're also very good at going deep and writing these amazing projects with a lot of research and stuff involved. So I'm really happy to be a part of an organization that does all that, and, doing work that also where I get to do that too. But yeah, what was the rest of your question again? Just
what's different about Mississippi Today compared to the other papers? Why should people tune in to a Mississippi Today and reach out to Mississippi Today to get their news versus what would they get at Mississippi Today they can't get at the other papers? Or what perspective would that be?
Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely just say that we've got a lot of hardworking people who really do want to tell impactful stories, and we love to hear from people. I do get a lot of tips from the community, and because unfortunately I'm only one person, there's only so much I personally can handle. But there could be so many criminal justice stories, because that's just what's happening out there. There's a lot of stories that deserve and should be told, and we are able to tell some of them. So yeah, I think that it's just the ability for us, kind of the perspective and the context and the well thoughtfulness that we're able to offer. But yeah.
I think you answered that well, Mina, and definitely I'm in agreement with that. I think that's what makes Mississippi Today great. And it's so important in the South, and specifically in Mississippi, for us to have a diversity of stories, a diversity of thought, a diversity of perspectives. And I don't have to say I'm not even going to use that word and bring that into this conversation. We've gone to almost an hour without it. But we definitely have to make sure that all voices are heard, whether we're in the Delta, or we on the Gulf Coast, or we on North Mississippi, and we all come from different villages and different areas of the community. And it's important for all of our voices to be heard, and that we're sharing it with each other. And specifically, our papers and our media sources, whether it's Women for Progress Media, or either Mississippi Today, or Jackson Advocate, or Northside Sun, or any of the other papers, is that we stay vital. And I, over the years, I think in most recent years, a lot of these papers and a lot of these institutions has struggled, right? Both financially and making sure that they stay strong and sound. So we need to support our news outlets, making sure that we shout out those news outlets. We just recently recognized WJTV as our community champion. They do so much amazing things that of telling our story. We love that 9 a.m. show where they're bringing forth entrepreneurs and business leaders and things like that, where they're doing wonderful things. So shout out to Miss Kayla Thompson. We love, love, love her. She's amazing. And we have to lift her up. So she's so genuine and so great. But we recognize so many amazing women and women in media. I want to shout out those individuals again. If you want to know who we recognize last February 27th, last Thursday, is I want you to go to womeninmedia2025.com, womeninmedia2025.com. There's a list of all the amazing nominees that are there, and you can find out more information about them also. And we'll continue to spotlight those individuals, and we want you to learn about them. We want you to watch them. So whatever agency or organization that they are part of, we want you to check them out, whether they're part of a radio station or TV station. We want you to look for those women. So we want you to get familiar with those names. When you see Mina out there, you see, yeah, I know her. I know her. And so you watch for her and you cheer her on and give her support, in all of the women that are out there. We thank so much people like Katina Rankin, who's been in this arena for a very, very long period of time, and Jermaine Flood over there at Mississippi Public Broadcasting. Oh my God, I met her and we got a chance to talk. I just fell in love with her. She had so much energy and she's amazing. Been in this industry for 20 years. And we can't believe we've been in this town, in this city, and she's been right over there off Ridgewood, and we didn't know that she existed. And so now we know her, and we're tuning in now to public broadcasting because of all these women we got a chance to meet. So people are like, oh, well, really? They got some shows over there that we should be watching? Yeah, Next Stop Mississippi, Jermaine Flood, and so many others. I think this show comes on at 10 o'clock every morning. But check out all of these stations and all of these outlets, because you want to get information from different sources. You don't want to be tuned into one tunnel. Okay? So, and sometimes there's some outlets that share stories that you may not get at Clear and Ledger. You may not get at Mississippi Free Press, and hopefully you don't get here at Women for Progress Media. So we want you to support all of those particular outlets. And speaking of outlets, I want to share a couple of events that are coming up. You know, this is municipal election season. So we got a lot going on. League of Women Voters, which is one of the amazing institutions about supporting voters and engaging voters, is having some really great mayoral candidate events in other forums. And I want to share with you on March 18th at Millsaps College. The League of Women Voters is going to be hosting a mayoral candidate forum. And I think at this point, we've gotten every single candidate that has RSVP'd. So we want you to join us at 6 p.m. at Millsaps College on March 18th for the mayoral forum. League of Women Voters also is going to be partnering with Jackson State to have an all wars forum on March 25th at 6 p.m. at Jackson State. And also there will be on March 27th again, those mayoral candidates will be coming back, but they'll be at Jackson State University on March 27th. So all of those events, we'll continue to share those through our social media, our Facebook page, and etc. So the next up is March 18th at Millsaps. No matter where you sit in the city, we want you to come and ask and be prepared to listen in on these and gather the vision that these individuals have for the city of Jackson. It's so important for us to get that information and make good decisions at the poll. The election is April 1st. The election is right around the corner, just a few weeks away. You're going to go on break, spring break, come back. You're in it for a couple more weeks, and then it's election time. Okay. So right now, if you're not going to be in town, we want you to, use absentee voting. We'll continue to share information about that too also. But we want every single person. Let's show up big, guys, for the city of Jackson. Let's not just a handful of folks give their voice on April 1st. Let's have a 90% participation. Let's just blow it out the water. Let every single person who registered to vote. Maybe you didn't vote in the last election. Maybe it's been 3 years. Maybe it's been 2 years since you voted. Get up and do that and be there on April 1st and give your voice. We need to make sure that everybody chimes in for this decision, major leadership role for April 1st. We want you to be there and support that. If you need more information, go to we love vote411.org, vote411.org. That is a website that's manned by legal women voters who've been around for, I don't want to get that right, but I think over 100 years. I don't know how long it's been, but they've been around a long time. They're a trusted source. So you can go there. And also, if you don't know what precinct or what ward you're in or what district you're in, you can go there to vote411.org and put your address in, and it'll tell you everything you need to know. Who's your senator? Who's your representative? Who's your local person? Who's your ward person? It'll, even as we get closer to the election, give you a sample ballot for April 1st. So vote411.org, which is hosted by legal women voters. That's where you can get more information. Of course, here on our Facebook page and all of our social media, we'll continue to engage you also. If you want to be part of the Women for Progress database, where we're updating you all the time, we're back producing our weekly newsletter right now. And then all of our information, we send out e-blasts all the time to sometime over 3,000 emails and around our city and around our state. Then go to our website and there is a link there where you can put in your email, and we'll put you on our database and make sure you get all those updates. Or you can send it to womenforprogressinc@gmail.com. Women for Progress Inc@gmail.com. You can give your information there, your cell number, or either your email address alone if you don't want to share your cell, and we'll add your email to that database, and you'll get updated on events like we had last Thursday, which was Women in Media. Thanks so much for the over 120 people that showed up and was part of that great event. So all of the things that we do and engaged in, you can get connected to that. Make sure. Now, look, first Tuesdays every month, Lunch and Learn, Women for Progress is on fire for 2025. We just had this week on Tuesday one of the most amazing panel about maternal health and health for women and children. It was a powerful panel. Oh my God, it was so inspiring. The meal was great. The networking was just incredible. Thanks everybody for showing up on Tuesday. We were at Char. And thanks so much for Char for being a partner for us. Char Restaurant gets us. People say, well, why y'all always at Char? We said we love it because that is one place that always shows up for us. The food is always so great. The facility is already great. They show us so much great customer service. We love Char. And not that we don't love all those other places we go to too. We like those too, but we definitely have a special place in our hearts for Char. So I think we're going to be there again for April, but it's the first Tuesdays of each month, and we come together and have an amazing time with great speakers and experts and women who are doing incredible things. And it's one of the most amazing networking hours in the city of Jackson every first Tuesdays of the month. So thank you all again. Again, I want to say this has been 15 years of doing wonderful things and sharing our voices and talking together and having great dialogue and great conversations and really being open to our community and open to what women have to say. So this has been an exciting time. Mina, I tell you, as we leaving, I have to give you the last word. Share, we got 2 minutes left. I can't believe we just got 2 minutes left. But anything that you would like to share with us before we close up?
I'm just so happy to have been here. I really appreciate the work that Women for Progress and the Radio Network is doing. I'm super happy to have been nominated to be among such amazing media women, and I look forward to continuing to tell criminal justice stories here in Mississippi and in Jackson.
Well, thank you. I know this won't be our last conversation. And thank you so much for spending this entire hour. Look, for women, an entire hour of conversation is a lot. And we thank you so much for giving us this hour tonight and being open to our conversation. And you did extremely well. We thank you so much for coming to Mississippi. We thank you for being here. We thank you for telling our stories. We look forward to engaging you as we move forward. Not only that, Mina, but we're going to be looking out for you. We're going to be praying for you. Every now and then we may call you up and just say, "How you doing?" Do you need some lunch? Do you need a coffee meeting? And so we're going to be there for you. And we're not just, this is not going to be just a one timer for us. We support you. We love you. We want you to do well. We wish you so much success. And we thanks to all of the women who we celebrated last week in Women in Media. You all are amazing, and you touched our hearts and our minds in ways that we did not even imagine. And so we were lifted up for you being there and celebrating you. Your stories were our stories last week. And we thank you so much for what you bring to the table and what you bring to Mississippi and what you bring to our communities here in the city of Jackson, the state of Mississippi. So this has been Women for Progress Radio Network. Again, we're here every Thursday at 5:30. And hey, we'll be back live with the Working Woman Report, which is every Wednesday from 12 to 1. I got a great woman that we're going to be talking to next week. The Working Woman Report is programming that highlights the work of women. Our goal there is to take the work of women and connect it to the economics of Mississippi and the empowerment, how that work really empowers our communities and our economic development in the state of Mississippi. So tune in to us. We thank you so much for joining us tonight. This has been Women for Progress Radio Network, which as we move forward will be Women for Progress Media. So good night and have a great rest of your week. And thank you so much, Mina, again for joining me tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye-bye.